Hi, I'm Marc, and on this channel I talk about Brexit and UK politics. Great Britain is obviously struggling with major challenges in implementing infrastructure projects, such as expanding the rail network we talked about lately. High costs and resistance from citizens are the main problems there. And an example that is the HS2 high-speed project, which has faced problems since its launch in 2009. The construction cost of HS2 was originally estimated at around £38 billion, but this figure has now risen sharply and, according to internal calculation, probably exceeds the £100 billion mark. In order to save costs, certain sections of the route were deleted. The planned connection to the Eurostar was cancelled, and the eastern section between Birmingham and Leeds was also scrapped quite some time ago. And finally, further construction of the western connection to Manchester was also stopped. All that would remain is a route of around 215 kilometers long, which would reduce the travel time between London and Birmingham by half an hour it is, to around 45 minutes. One reason for the rising costs and the problems in implementing large-scale projects in Great Britain is the British legal system. Large infrastructure projects often face resistance from local residents who generally support such problems but do not want them in their immediate area. The phenomenon that citizens fundamentally support large construction projects but do not want them near them is known as NIMBY. When planning HS2, an attempt was made to avoid possible objections from citizens in the planning process by laying much of the route underground. 4/5 of the express train travels through tunnels or deep corridors, meaning that only 7 minutes of their 45-minute journey are in daylight. And in addition, in Great Britain, it often takes a very long time before a major project can even be implemented. It could take up to 7 years to build a new offshore wind farm, according to Chancellor of the Exchequer Jeremy Hunt. This is because there are many approval processes and appeals that slow down the process unnecessarily. There is therefore a need to improvement in terms of the accelerated implementation of infrastructure projects. However, the Conservative government itself is also contributing to the delay of projects. An example of this is the ban on the construction of new wind farms in the English countryside, which Prime Minister Sunak initially promised. However, under pressure from his own group in the House of Commons, he recently relaxed the ban. Overall, the example of HS2 clearly shows that Great Britain still has major problems in implementing major projects. High costs and citizens' resistance are major challenges that must be overcome to improve the country's infrastructure and keep pace with competitors in Europe. But seriously, why do major projects in the UK often fail? Mostly, there's the public opposition, but also the rising costs and the citizen protest. NIMBYism or NIMBY, so it means not in my backyard, means that many people generally support large infrastructure projects but do not want them in their immediate area, as I said. And this results in the government being forced to move a majority of projects underground to circumvent possible citizen objections. But of course this is really expensive. And in addition, political decisions and a lengthy approval process also lead to delays and increased costs. Just one example. Why are high-speed train construction costs significantly higher in the UK than in France, for example? The cost of building high-speed trains in the UK is quite enormous compared to France. And as I said, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, has asked himself this question. But the exact reason for the cost differences are complex and cannot just be reduced to one single factor. But some factors could include more expensive tunnel construction, of course, to avoid those citizen protests, as well as political decisions and a lengthy approval process leading to delays and cost increases. When it takes longer, we have inflation as well. But what impact will stopping HS2 have now in the UK? The halt to the HS2 project, for example, means that the planned express train connection from London to Birmingham will no longer be fully realized. As I said, there were other sections like Birmingham to Leeds cancelled already, and the connection to Manchester was also stopped. And in the end, we have that, what I said in the beginning of the video, just 215 kilometers left. That's all. And that is just the journey between London Euston Station and Birmingham, with a 1.5 hour reduction of the trip. But I don't know what that has cost for this short thing now. I didn't look it up. I could have, but I didn't look that up. But they are really not helping there. And tunnels. Sorry. When major projects are carried out in the UK, it often takes a long time before construction can even begin, and that's another point. This is attributed to British law and, of course, this NIMBYism mentality, and that reminds me a lot of Stuttgart 21, which was a very big issue here in Germany as well. But the German government has started working on speeding that up. We are trying here in my hometown, for example, a lot to improve that. But the UK could do that too. And there are several approaches to improving the construction of infrastructure projects in the UK. On the one hand, citizens could be better informed about the benefits and necessity of such projects in order to reduce their resistance. And furthermore, the approval process could be accelerated to avoid delays. And the government could also consider removing certain legal hurdles to make construction easier. We're discussing it here as well. And in addition, greater financial investment in infrastructure projects could help drive the expansion and the modernization of existing systems. That is a big issue in other countries that are doing better with their infrastructure, and they're still discussing this. So the UK should do that too. And this HS2 once was for leveling up, the big promise of the 2019 election. So that is another issue here I even left out because we're not talking about the general politics today. But we will come back to that. And if you want to know more about UK politics or Brexit, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.